Archaeology isn't just the study of broken bones and ancient tombs, it's also perhaps the only reliable window into our distant, unrecorded past. Every archaeological find gives us a direct, even if incomplete, glimpse into our long history as a species, as well as helps us add another piece to the vast puzzle that is our origins. And in this video, we're going to show you the 15 rarest ancient discoveries that will blow your mind. So, ready to have your mind blown? Well, let's dive in. Number 15. Zorat's Kharar, Armenia's Stonehenge. Zorat's Kharar sits on Armenia's Sunic Plateau like a field of stones that refuses to explain itself. There are more than 200 basalt monoliths that cover the site, many weighing several tons, and some are pierced with clean circular holes. And that detail has turned the place into one of Armenia's biggest ancient mysteries. Some archaeologists see it as a Bronze Age necropolis because burials and artifacts have been found there. But a few experts argue the stones may have served as an observatory, with the holes used to sight stars, solstices, or key points on the horizon. The dates remain debated too, with some placing it around 2000 BC, while older claims push parts of it thousands of years further back. The truth may sit between both ideas. Zorat's Kharar could have been a place where death, ritual, and the sky were connected together through stone. Without inscriptions, we can't say anything about who built it or exactly why. Number 14. Lost Flood of Hierakonpolis. Long before the pharaohs' tombs and pyramids rose, Egypt already had cities, power, religion, and disasters. One of the earliest was Hierakonpolis, known in ancient times as Nekhen, a major settlement on the west bank of the Nile more than 5,000 years ago. This place helped shape the beginning of Egyptian civilization, and even the famous Narmer Palette was found there. But beneath its temples, homes, and workshops, archaeologists discovered something much darker: layers of silt, broken pottery, and collapsed walls left by a massive flood. This wasn't the normal yearly Nile flood that farmers depended on. This was stronger, sudden, and destructive enough to bury entire parts of the city. In some places, tools and half-fired pottery were trapped exactly where people left them, as if everyone ran when the water came. The city was later rebuilt on higher ground, but that mud layer still remains, quietly marking a disaster Egypt never wrote down anywhere, yet never fully escaped at all. Now, the question is, will it happen again? Number 13. Aramu Muru, the Gate of the Gods. High in southern Peru, carved into the reddish stone of the Hayumarca Mountains, stands a doorway that leads nowhere. Aramu Muru, often called the Gate of the Gods, is a massive 7-meter rock carving shaped like an entrance, with a smaller niche at its base that looks almost like a keyhole. There is no chamber behind it, only solid stone, which makes the site even stranger. Local Aymara traditions describe it as a spiritual portal, a place where shamans entered trances and connected with other realms. One legend tells of an Inca priest fleeing Spanish invaders with a sacred golden disc, placing it into the niche and disappearing through the stone forever. Archaeologists suggest it may be an unfinished Inca project or a symbolic doorway tied to Andean beliefs about ancestors, gods, and the dead. Whatever its true purpose, Aramu Muru remains a silent stone threshold, carved with precision yet forever unopened. Number 12. Jiangku Chenyan Gold Imperial Seal. Battlefields rarely give up everything at once. Sometimes, they hold on to pieces of history long after the fighting has ended. In China, archaeologists uncovered a Ming-era battlefield that had remained hidden for centuries. Among thousands of recovered objects, one stood out immediately. A gold imperial seal, small in size but enormous in significance. Measuring only a few inches across, it features a carved tortoise and carries markings that suggest it belonged to someone of high status, possibly even a royal heir. The seal dates back to a chaotic period when the Ming dynasty was collapsing and power was shifting. That context matters. Objects like this don't just get lost. They are taken, hidden, or dropped during moments of urgency. There's even speculation that it may have passed through the hands of a rebel leader before ending up where it was found. What's certain is its rarity. Finds like this don't appear often. Number 11. Hidden text in a book of hours. Old manuscripts often carry more than what's visible on the surface. That became clear when researchers examined a 15th century book of hours using ultraviolet imaging. Beneath the decorative script, they found traces of an earlier text written in French. It had been scraped away to make room for the new writing, a common practice at a time when materials were expensive and reused whenever possible. What remains now are fragments, faint lines that hint at a message that once existed in full. The problem is, those fragments don't connect clearly. Without the missing sections, it's impossible to reconstruct the original text with certainty. Still, the discovery matters. It shows how knowledge was layered, erased, and rewritten over time. What we see today is only part of the story. There's always something underneath. Something that didn't totally disappear, waiting to be noticed again after centuries of silence and neglect. Number 10. Sky Flame of the Chachapoya. High in northern Peru, where the mountains disappear into cloud forest, the Chachapoya built stone cities, cliff tombs, and strange burial towers that still look over the valleys. They were later called the Warriors of the Clouds, and even that name feels fitting. But one of the strangest stories connected to them is not carved in stone. It is a memory of fire in the sky. Old accounts describe a blazing object crossing the heavens, lighting the night and terrifying the people who saw it. Some versions say it crashed into the mountains. Others say it passed overhead and vanished. The most likely explanation is a large meteor or bolide, the kind that explodes in the atmosphere with light, noise, and shock. To people living in a world where the sky carried omens, that moment would not feel scientific. We mean it would feel divine, threatening, and unforgettable. No crater has settled the matter, but the story survived for centuries in the clouds. Number 9. Samaipata Carved Rock. In Bolivia, near the town of Samaipata, an entire sandstone hill was carved into something that still refuses easy explanation. Known as El Fuerte de Samaipata, the site stretches about 220 meters and is covered with terraces, channels, niches, stairways, and geometric patterns cut directly into living rock. Despite its name, it was never a fortress. There are no proper defensive walls, and its wide carved platforms make far more sense as a ceremonial center. Pre-Inca groups and later the Incas appear to have used the site, turning the hill into a sacred landscape tied to water, fertility, astronomy, and ritual power. Some channels may have guided rainwater across the stone, symbolizing life-giving rivers in Andean belief. Others may have aligned with the sun or stars. Standing there, it feels less like a building and more like a mountain reshaped for gods and humans. Samaipata is one of South America's strangest carved monuments. Number 8. Roman Venus statues from Rennes. At first, the site didn't seem special. It was an old Roman quarry in Rennes, later used as a dumping ground. But in 2023, archaeologists digging through what had once been discarded found something far more meaningful. Among the debris were 2 statues of Venus, the Roman goddess tied to love, beauty, and power. They date back roughly 1,800 years and were found alongside coins, pottery, and everyday objects. That contrast is what makes the find interesting. Valuable items mixed in with what appears to be waste. The quarry had already served its purpose, stripped of usable stone and repurposed as a place to throw things away. But these statues don't feel like garbage. They were crafted carefully, each with its own posture and detail, suggesting intention behind their creation. Why they ended up there isn't clear. Maybe they were damaged. Maybe they were discarded during a shift in belief. Either way, they survived. Number 7. Akapana Pyramid. Akapana does not stand intact anymore, but its scale is still clear. At the center of Tiwanaku, it once rose as a huge stepped pyramid, spreading about 200 meters across with multiple levels climbing toward the top. Each terrace was built with large stone blocks, carefully placed, and at the summit sat a sunken courtyard open to the sky. One of the rarest features is the drainage system. Channels were built into the structure to carry rainwater from the top down through the pyramid. This was not just a practical design. In Andean belief, mountains and water were closely tied to life and the spiritual world. Akapana may have been built to reflect that idea. It likely played a role in rituals tied to agriculture, seasons, and the sky. Still, questions remain. Parts of it appear unfinished, and without written records, its exact purpose is still uncertain today. Number 6. Leonardo da Vinci's living descendants. Leonardo da Vinci is often seen as a figure almost beyond human reach, a genius whose legacy feels distant and untouchable. And it's almost true. But recent research has brought him a little closer to the present. After more than a decade of detailed work, historians Alessandro Vezzosi and Agnese Sabato traced his family line across 21 generations, stretching back nearly 700 years. What they found was surprising. Despite Leonardo's never having children himself, his extended family continued through his father's line. The study identified 14 living male descendants connected through an unbroken lineage. Before this, it was widely believed that only a couple of distant relatives remained. This changes that completely. The discovery isn't just about family history. It could help verify the authenticity of artifacts linked to Leonardo, especially those lacking clear records. DNA comparisons might finally answer long-standing questions about certain works. In a way, his story hasn't ended. It's still unfolding, just quietly. Number 5. Ancient kauri tree from Nu. Some discoveries don't just reveal the past, they offer a way to study it directly. That's what makes the ancient kauri tree found in New Zealand so valuable. Discovered buried deep beneath the ground near Nu, this tree dates back around 42,000 years. It remained preserved because it was sealed under layers of soil for thousands of years. What makes it even more remarkable is its lifespan. The tree lived for about 1,500 years before it died, meaning it existed during a period of major environmental change. Scientists believe it may hold clues about a time when Earth's magnetic field weakened or shifted. By studying the growth rings and chemical composition, researchers can track how radiation levels may have changed during that period. It's rare to have such a well-preserved natural record from so far back. This isn't just a fossil. It's a timeline, still carrying information from a world we barely understand. Number 4. Gunung Padang Hill Terraces. Deep in the highlands of West Java, Gunung Padang rises like a stone staircase built into a forested hill. Its terraces are made from neatly arranged volcanic columns, forming platforms, walls, and pathways that climb toward the summit. Local communities have long treated it as sacred, but archaeologists recognized it as a major megalithic site only in the last century. Mainstream researchers usually date the visible terraces to around 500 BC, making it one of Southeast Asia's largest prehistoric stone monuments. Yet Gunung Padang became famous because of a far bolder claim. Some Indonesian researchers argued that deeper layers beneath the hill may be up to 20,000 years old. If true, it would rewrite the history of civilization. Critics believe those deeper layers are natural volcanic formations, not human construction. The debate remains unsettled. Whether ancient shrine or lost Ice Age monument, Gunung Padang still feels like a sacred hill hiding something beneath its stones. Will we ever uncover its hidden secrets? Number 3. Tia Stele. Tia looks quiet at first, but its stones carry a language nobody can fully read anymore. Near the town of Tia in southern Ethiopia, 36 carved stelae stand within a UNESCO-protected site, part of a much wider megalithic tradition spread across the region. These narrow stones vary in height, with some rising several meters, and many are engraved with swords, circles, lines, and symbols whose meanings remain uncertain. Excavations have linked many of them to burials, suggesting they worked as grave markers. But the sword carvings make the mystery heavier. Were they honoring warriors, chiefs, or entire communities shaped by conflict and power? Archaeologists usually date the site between the 10th and 15th centuries AD, though Ethiopian stone traditions reach much further back. Whoever raised them clearly understood both stonework and symbolism. The stelae remain solemn, weathered, and strangely direct, as if they are still trying to say something we lost the ability to understand today in old, weathered stone. Number 2. Second Temple Public Building. Archaeology doesn't always move quickly. Sometimes, it takes generations to fully understand what's been uncovered. And that's exactly what happened in Jerusalem. The first traces of this enormous public structure were noticed back in the 19th century near the Western Wall, but the full excavation wasn't completed until 2021. Seeing it now, the delay almost makes sense. The building is massive, more like an ancient civic hall than anything else. It would have hosted gatherings, official discussions, and public events more than 2,000 years ago. Experts now consider it one of the most significant discoveries from the Second Temple period. Despite its size and importance, it likely didn't survive long. Historical accounts suggest it was heavily damaged during the Roman destruction of Jerusalem in 70 CE. After that, it was abandoned and left buried for centuries. Even so, enough remains to preserve its story. Today, plans are underway to open it as a museum for visitors. All right, guys, now let's finish this journey with Number 1. Hebosuo bamboo and wooden slips. In 2023, archaeologists working in Yunnan province uncovered thousands of bamboo and wooden slips buried at the site of Hebosuo. These objects date back more than 2,000 years, a time before paper was widely used. Instead of books as we know them, people wrote on narrow strips that could be tied together and rolled for storage. What makes this discovery rare is the scale. More than 10,000 slips were found, many still carrying legible text. Some of them include official seals from counties that once belonged to the ancient Dian kingdom. That detail reveals something important. This wasn't casual writing. It was administrative. Titles like magistrate and references to governance appear throughout the collection, pointing to an organized system already in place. It shows a structured society managing records and authority long before AI or modern documentation. The slips don't just preserve words, they preserve how that world really worked. If you've enjoyed watching this video, please like and subscribe. We'll catch you soon.